Welcome everybody back to Insanity Check Radio, and Ken Skillet Sauce right over there. Yes.
No, I'm just saying. You always start to say, "Wait, welcome everybody,"
and that's funny.
No. I mean, because I was actually going to say it, but I was like, you know what? Since I say radio, you say welcome everybody. So.
Thank you. I guess.
Fuck is the sheet so short, man? Shit is mad short.
Yeah, exactly. Just realized that before we got on the air. It is the end of the month, July 30th, or the end of the month is tomorrow, right? No, whatever. It's almost over. Summer's almost done.
Tomorrow's the end of the month.
Actually, today is a very, very nice day. Not too hot. Chicks are out, always a good thing. Some of you guys may have seen my Facebook, our Facebook, and Google Plus, if you are part of that. Of course, our Facebook page, Insanity Check, and our Google Plus circle page, Insanity Check, again. That kind of like, let you guys know you may want to check this out. I was actually thinking about, of course, we discussed some of these stories we're about to do on the show. And what occurred to me, probably the worst part, and this is going to be heinous, ladies and gentlemen. Make no mistake about it. You guys know why, we never preface that show with with sensationalistic shit. Oh, you got to watch this. Oh, this is going to be horrible. This is going to be fucked up. But it just occurred to me a couple of days ago. Probably the worst part of this story we're going to do is that we may be indicting ourselves to actually have to make an apology to Artie White.
Artie, I actually thought about that. I thought Artie would. You know what? No, I'm not making an apology to this motherfucker because he's crazy. But I mean, for people out there that may actually follow our YouTube page, Insanity Check Radio. My applause, man.
He's scrambling over there to get them applause up. Scrambling.
That's right. Artie and I got into a terrible, sort of like trolling banter or whatever they call it today. We got into an argument. Because Artie was going on with his religious nonsense and just crazy, illogical, senile foolishness, and once again he touched upon, we should not condemn pedophiles, and of course that set me off, and we got to arguing and everything like that. And I thought about that today. I was like, you know what, we might actually see. I can't tolerate bringing that fool back on the show.
Oh, I wouldn't even begin to bring him on the show.
I honestly can't. You know what? I can't bring it to myself to apologize to him. I just can't, because I think that he's just insane, and he probably wouldn't even understand what the hell I was saying in the first place. But this particular subject is, if there was anything that really, basically separated, what you feel from law and then moral, what are so-called moral law, whatever you want to call it, it's a subject like this, because this is really fucked up on a lot of different levels, and it's going to make people have to sincerely review the laws as they are.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet, but I'm just saying, if
they won't even review it now, because
but if it picks up steam, I mean, this is
basically this story was presented to me by Amber from one of our faithful followers.
Amber, huh?
That's right, Amber.
Does she like you saying her name like that?
She hasn't complained yet.
No. Every time you say that, you should have some old some old 70s porn music.
I'll take that.
That's what that's
exactly. She sent me a story, and initially my initial reaction.
The fuck is wrong with? I'm sorry. This fucking. Oh, go ahead, man.
My initial reaction was something like that. The title of it is called "It Begins: Pedophiles Call for Same Rights as Homosexuals." Again, I always keep hating to say it. I mean, we champion the rights of a lot of people on this show.
Why do you hate to say that?
I don't know, because I feel like I'm just repeating myself. I almost feel like I say it because we have to say it, but we don't have to say it.
No, you say it obviously because we might have new viewers.
Right, some people might not know.
A new viewer.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we champion gay rights here all the time, and this is we talked about this, and that's why this started getting more ominous. This subject matter, because on the surface, this is what basically is going down. Okay, pedophiles are now trying to receive the same rights as homosexuals in America, which is that their proclivity to fucking children
is a sexual orientation,
right, and not
it's
a
not
sickness.
a choice. It's not, it's not a sickness or disease. It's
as homosexuality was considered legally for a long time in this country, and probably still in parts of this country, and
definitely in some people's minds.
Right,
I mean,
and in the world.
Because you told me that story about that dude at your former job. And about the guy, he would not accept the fact that this wasn't a choice. Homosexuality wasn't. The people just can't even wrap their brain around the fact that people might just be this way. This is just the way they came out.
Again, choosing to be gay in a society where homosexuality is spat upon. It's a horrid thing. It's a sin before God.
And at one point could get you killed, beaten and killed.
Let's be real. It's still today. It can still get you killed and beaten. And they just couldn't see that people came out again. So my simple common sense argument was, if that was the case, then with it being such a negative thing in today's world, why would someone actively make a conscious choice to be a part of this targeted group? Doesn't make any sense unless you had no choice in the matter, and this is just who you were. And this is what pedophiles are claiming now, and they're trying to make a movement, as I was just informed, around the world that they are no longer, they don't want to be seen as sick fucks, which is what we all think they are.
I'll be honest, I thought this was pretty much like you just individuals that had a sick perversion, like people that like stink and poontang, like there's people out there that just want a stinking nasty fish box, and that's the way they want it. I'm like, well, you're a sick.
A fish and tackle box?
Nah, man, I'm talking about some nasty snatch. So
yeah, exactly.
So no, but there are people out there that like this kind of stuff. So I thought it was just like a particular perversion or whatever on But so I was like, well, these guys, we both thought erroneously. Well, no, I don't even know if it's erroneously, but we both was under the assumption that they would be attracted. They could fool around with adults, but something drove them to target children. And the way these guys are trying to word it now, that no, that's they're not targeting children. It's just like that's who they feel that they were born to be with, which I never even thought of it that way. And like I said, and what did you say that quote was? That the guy was like, yeah, let's just go on.
I'm gonna read some of the article here. Critics of homosexual lifestyle and Skillet is actually, you said you referenced this to someone a long time ago. Mm-hmm. Critics of the homosexual lifestyle have long claimed that once it became acceptable to identify homosexuality as simply an alternative lifestyle or sexual orientation, logically nothing would be off limits. Gay advocates have taken offense to such a position, insisting that would never happen. However, psychiatrists are now beginning to advocate redefining pedophilia in the same way homosexuality was redefined several years ago. So again, possibly soon, you may not be a sick motherfucker who deserves to be killed. You are just someone who has no choice in the matter of liking to fuck 9-year-olds.
Yeah. And, it's, basically the blueprint has been set for these people to have this platform. And now if they can basically convey that, yes, this is a sexual orientation, then if they don't get what they feel that they should get, which is still, because it's still just, I guess they, to be accepted to say, okay, pedophilia is a sexual orientation, but it just still doesn't mean that they can actually have sex with children unless you somehow lower the age of children to have sex. But my whole thing is just on the books. If they go, wait a minute, homosexuals are able to get this certain level within society after coming from a certain point because it's been accepted that this is who they are, then if these guys can find some medical backing or whatever to say, that yes, we are just made this way, and they get denied, they actually have a leg to stand on. Which is, to me, frightening, because at the end of the day, even if they were, even if they were to somehow be successful, I'm not letting, I don't give a fuck what the law says. This is the whole thing about the moral ground. I'm not letting a grown-up, or ever condoning a grown-up having sex with a 9-year-old or 10-year-old. I mean, this is not back in the 1800s or early 1900s where, mid 1800s where child prostitution, all that kind of stuff was just legal. It was just, like the Wild Wild West, literally. No, I just.
But as we discussed, yes,
Yeah.
8.
Yeah.
Was that around the same time you was with your auntie, the 1800s?
Yeah, other people have had these theories, 8, just to let you know.
Exactly.
But again, if you discuss this with any type of open mind, which most of us wouldn't want to do on the subject matter, but this is what we do. We went along this very same line of discussion a couple of days ago, and my immediate observation was, well, if that was the case, nationally, universally in this country, that kids as young as you said, 9 and 10 years old, but let's just say 12 and 13, were getting married, which they were, raising families, or on the flip side, engaging in prostitution, holding down quote-unquote jobs or whatever it is they had to do. Why is it now taboo for any of these things to happen?
Now, I would say that hopefully, I would say that we have grown a little bit morally. Because when I read a lot of books, and I referenced the book The Alienist and a couple other books, and it's like there's this.
But I'm saying that. But why is it immoral? It's simply because we have stated it.
I know. I know. It's
back against homosexuality.
Yeah,
it's immoral to be gay. Lord knows, and those people who believe in the Lord knows that. excuse me. That is what. A large problem with homosexuality is a sin against crime. It's immoral.
Perceived problem,
right?
Yeah.
But again, if we have now becoming, more forward-thinking, open-minded, and it's no longer a morality issue, then does that mean that this subject, pedophilia, is destined for the same path? In 15 years, it's no longer a morality. Well, these kids can handle it. Perceivably, possibly, whatever. I have no idea. I'm not a child psychologist of any stretch. But again, if this was going on, years ago, and as I said to him, if this was a standard thing, but we all believe that this completely fucks up children and they turn into lunatics and have all these issues, our whole nation should be completely fucked right now. Well, there should be at least a time in where we should have had a dark ages where everyone was depressed and kids committing suicide and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But, to my knowledge, I don't know of any such period. So was it that bad? And again, not advocating pedophilia, just exploring these concepts.
And like I said, this is one of those things where I guess your educated mind, or for those people that are religiously motivated or whatever, or driven, rather religiously driven, they have that to consider. And I guess the people that feel that there's supposed to be a certain moral code or moral line that you should not cross. I mean, this is going to be this is going to be something that once it picks up steam, if it picks up steam over here, and I guess it gains more notoriety within the media, it's going to be something that's going to hopefully there's always going to be the ignorant people that die pedophiles and stuff like that. And I don't necessarily want them to die. I just think that they should be doing what they're doing to children. But it's just really crazy, because I was just reading just a little portion of it, and what you said about we discussed it the other day about the long-term ramifications to children that was actually engaged in acts, pedophilic acts. So I'm thinking okay, in 1973 it said the American Psychiatric Association declassified homosexuality from its list of mental disorders. Now, if this is no longer considered a mental disorder, right, and if they honestly go on the books and saying it's a mental disorder, where do you even think that they should go from that point forth? Because if they get that, right, that's like to me, it's almost like just a pat on the back kind of victory for these people.
Right.
Because if they say okay, fine, we're not crazy. Now you realize that we're not crazy, and chemically this is the way we are. Where can they possibly go? Because despite what you said, I don't believe that we can go backwards 15 years, 20 years from now, unless something really happens to set this place into a Mad Max reality. Where it's like every man, woman, and child for themselves. I don't think we'll ever engage in this. We'll ever embrace a society in which children can now be bedded down by male or female adults. I don't think I personally don't think in my lifetime that'll happen.
Well, maybe not in our lifetime. I mean that clearly would take a severe societal shift. There's no doubt about that. You coming in here?
Yeah, I will say just, to kind of adjust what you're saying, always make sure you say you doubt that'll happen in the United States because it is acceptable.
Oh, no. No.
Which
Actually,
is bonkers, but it is.
Yeah,
you're
until stated otherwise, we are talking about
United States. 'Cause I know there was a documentary on child prostitution, and I forgot which country, so I don't want to say it right off the bat. But most likely, when we find it, we'll just put it up there. But I am speaking specifically about the United States, right now, in this particular instance. So.
And like I said before, if you recall a show we did a few months ago about, or at least we talked about when they legalized the use of marijuana out west in California, I think it was, and some of the other northwestern states. The issue was you can smoke marijuana, but you just can't grow it. You can't buy it.
Yeah.
You can't sell it.
You have to somehow just acquire it
somehow.
magically.
So this is the same thing. Like I said, if this goes through, okay, you're no longer sick. You're not protected under the law. You can't be fucking killed and murdered for having sex with children. But you still can't have sex with children.
Yeah, you can't have sex with children. You touch a child, you're going
what
to jail.
do you do?
So, and I said because
You know what?
Oh.
Good time for a pause. We will be back in a couple of minutes for part 2 of this.